How you doing, everybody? This is Dave Meltzer. We're going to be here talking about WrestleMania. This is one of the best pay-per-view shows I've ever seen, and probably the best one the WWF ever put on. We got Steve Austin winning the WWF title with the help of Vince McMahon in the main event, which was a tremendous match. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Edge and Christian coming out on top, getting the tag team titles. Probably, I think that match was probably better than the match they had at SummerSlam. It was not as many dangerous bumps, but I think the match made a lot more sense. Brian Alvarez, by the way, will be here any minute now. He's not quite back from his WrestleMania party, which we'll talk about in just a second. Let me just go through the results, I guess, from the start of the show until Brian gets here. It opened, the dark match was X-Pac and Just Incredible beating Grandmaster Sexay and Steve Blackman with a double super kick on Steve Blackman in 2 minutes and 46 seconds. That match was actually added, at the last minute when X-Pac complained to Hunter, and he got on the card. A lot of guys were originally not on the card, were added at the last minute. William Regal losing to Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental title. Jericho retaining with a lion salt, 7:08. That match was actually kind of disappointing. Decent match when they were in there. It was just a little bit short. Didn't really have enough time to build to what these two could have done. Not that there was anything wrong with it. Then it was Tazz and the APA beating the RTC, Goodfather, Bull, and Val Venus when Bradshaw did the clothesline on Goodfather. That match was the weakest of all the men's matches on the show. Only 3 minutes, 53 seconds, and, it really wasn't a good match at all. Then the three-way for the hardcore title, Kane ended up winning it, in 9:18. That was almost all backstage brawling. Raven took a lot of punishment, and the other guys, they did their part. It was alright. I mean, it was really not a lot different from most of your other hardcore matches, except that Raven went through a window and bled a little bit going through the window, but it was Brian is here. Okay, we're just up. Brian, how are you?
I am here.
Yeah, very much are. Brian, I thought that
this was a day where everything that could possibly go wrong did, but
you're here anyway.
So. Yes.
No, you know what? It could have been much worse. You know why? It could have been like WrestleMania 4.
Oh, I know. At least it was a good show.
I thought it was an awesome show. I thought it was the best WrestleMania by far.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole thing. I didn't get to see, the first 20 minutes of the show, so I was,
oh, my God, everything did go wrong. Well, you didn't miss anything in the first 20 minutes, I'll say that.
That's good. I was hoping that I missed, China and Ivory in the RTC, and I missed one of them, but unfortunately I didn't miss China and Ivory. But anyway, it was like I got there, and it just looked so awesome with, the building just totally, completely packed, the light show and everything like that. Just the whole atmosphere was awesome, and, 4 hours, tons of good wrestling, only a couple things that were kind of, I guess Ivory and China was short, like everyone pretty much expected, but it was
still stunk.
Actually worse. It was worse than I thought it was going to be going in, but...
yeah, that one was bad. But, I'll take one or two bad ones when you got three matches like Angle and Benoit, the main event, and the tables, ladders, and chairs. Those matches were incredible.
Yeah, they were awesome. The thing was, I don't know if you've talked about, have you gone down all the matches one by one, the main event yet?
No, I'm only up to the Raven match, actually. So let me go through... Let's go through the results.
Actually, guys, just real quick, we've got two callers on the line. Both of them are in Houston, and both are right outside of WrestleMania from the show.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Hector is up first, and then we have Ed. They're both in Houston. Here's Hector first.
Okay, let's go to Hector first. Hector,
hello,
right outside the Astrodome. Hey, Hector, what's up?
I can hardly hear you because there's a lot of noise. Yeah, I was in Houston, and everybody here was for Austin. There was no heel turn. It was just everybody. Even at the
end when he was drinking the beer with Vince?
And as far as the WWF, they programmed people to cheer for Austin, even at the Access, because I went to Access, and everybody was like, like the WWF people, who's going to see Austin kick The Rock's ass tomorrow? And they're like, hell yeah, and all that. And they kept on repeating that, and it was almost as if they were building The Rock as a heel.
Well, I think that the idea was to make Austin this huge baby face so it would shock the fans and they would turn even stronger when the time came to turn. And then the big trick was would McMahon be able to turn Austin? I think that the people watching at home, especially because you had JR and everything like that, For the people at home, it was a turn, but when I was watching it in the building, I could see in the building, it was not a turn in the building. And that was
it's usually a good idea, the whole deal, to make just a huge babyface do the heel turn, because then they hate him even more. But last night, it was like the wrong... for the formula to work, it was like the wrong guy in the wrong building on the wrong day for everything to work out perfectly.
They could have it with Undertaker, because Undertaker was over just as much as Austin tonight, because I know he's from Houston, and everybody here was Undertaker signs everywhere. But the McMahon thing, the McMahon match, there was a lot of problems with that, because they wrestled in different areas of the dome, and a lot of people had bad vision for that match. They could get to see one part of the angle here, one part of the angle there, and it was too much everywhere with the WCW guys and the McMahon thing and Trish and Stephanie.
But on the WCW, let me get to that one real quick, too. There were some WCW guys. I thought that thing came off very poor because, one, they didn't identify him, and two, when you got to look at him, you saw there were no stars. The biggest star in there was Johnny Ace and Lance Storm,
The worst part was, like, they came out and Shane just points up and goes, WCW guys are up there, and it's like they don't have a camera on them at the time, and they're trying to zoom in to get them, and they can't even do that. And it's like, man, these guys are stuck in the cheap seats, and they're supposed to be big stars. And a little graphic that says WCW wrestlers, and
they should have they should have said who everyone was. I thought that was pretty weak.
Yeah,
and a bad way to introduce.
Plus, everybody booed when Shane said WCW.
Yeah, everybody here was all Austin and Undertaker and WCW people and Gimmick Battle Royal. Most of the people were asking, who are these people? Like, in the front, really? I think the Marks knew, but like in the middle sections, everybody was lost. They were asking me, who's this guy? When Gene Okerlund came out and everything, I was surprised. So
you got to remember, a lot of the crowd, especially when you're talking about 65,000 people, those are not hardcore wrestling fans. Those are people coming in because there's a big event coming to your city, and they're kind of aware of who the top guys are, and they're not going to know, Volkov and the Sheik. By the way, Brian, you got that one right. That was a pretty clever one.
As soon as that thing started, the Sheik was standing in the ring, totally not moving, not even throwing punches. I just went, this guy's got to win. He's going anywhere.
Yeah, Oh, that was sad.
After the show, nothing really happened. Austin drank a few beers with Vince. I don't know if that came out on TV. And then after that, The Rock, they just played The Rock's music, and he got up and left, and Howard Finkel said thank you to the fans, and that was it. There was no after show. And before the show, that was just Sunday Night Heat, because it was really bad how the city set this up. It's very bad, the parking, very bad everything around it, but the event was good. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a bunch.
Thanks.
Thanks a bunch. We're going to go to Ed. Ed is also right outside the Astrodome. Ed, what's going on?
Guys, but what a show, man. That main event was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. They really worked their butts off. And I thought it was a good match. It's just a heel turn just didn't work here in Texas.
Now, when Vince McMahon and Austin were drinking beer together, were they cheering or were they stunned? Or did they just not care?
It was like people didn't see McMahon. It was almost like he wasn't there. They cheered Austin, and it was like he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So,
they were just playing his music so loud that it wasn't even clear on TV if they were booing him or cheering him or whatever. And the only thing was, he hit that stunner at the end, and everyone just exploded. And it was like, whoa. They didn't do it.
You could see the crowd when in the background. I could see that the crowd was totally cheering him, though.
Yeah.
Where
he was in his cheers too. I mean, he was maybe 40-35% for Rocky, because there was a lot of boos for him.
Yeah. Well, we could tell the boos for him.
Yeah.
What did you think of what did you think was the best match? The tables, ladders, and chairs, the Austin or the Benoit?
I thought the Austin Rock was the best. And then I'd have to go with Benoit and Angle. That was a really intense match. Those first few mix-ups that they had, where they were doing the amateur style, that was really great. I thought that was real good. The TLC match was good, but there was a lot of setups. They were setting up their next spot. I don't think it was
just like slow periods.
Set up the tables and the ladders and a lot of slow spots. But the match I really enjoyed, it was, I guess, the intros was the Battle Royal. I know a lot of people didn't know who they were where he was sitting, but where I was sitting, everybody marked for guys like Michael Hayes, going crazy for Michael Hayes, and Hillbilly Jim got a big applause. And
he was in the best shape of everyone. Think about that.
I started when the Goon came out. I tried to start an old Chauncey chant from World Class, And a few people knew what I was talking about.
For Barry Irwin or Bob, Bill Irwin, Barney Irwin's his real name. I keep getting mixed up.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in so long. He didn't look old, though.
Yeah, a couple guys knew what I was talking about when I was yelling Chauncey.
Oh, and yeah. That's like early 80s world class.
Yeah, that's like when I first started watching wrestling. And I knew the Sheik was going to win. For some reason, I just had a feeling he was going to win.
I think it was pretty obvious.
There weren't that many other options for him. I thought maybe they'll have like 10 guys on the outside and toss him on all 10 of them, but then I thought, what if they drop him? He'd be dead.
Yeah. I think that it was pretty clear the idea was for Slaughter to win, and when they realized that was just not a possibility, they did the next best thing.
Yeah, good. He got a nice little pop, Slaughter did himself, and I really enjoyed the Battle Royal. I mean, I know it wasn't much of a Battle Royal, but I did enjoy it. It was pretty nostalgic to me and stuff. And I thought the Vince and Shea match was pretty good, but there were some slow spots. And stuff. But I thought that one was pretty good. And I believe that Tripley got her revenge. I didn't think they were going to let her.
Yep, she did. Linda got out of the wheelchair. Actually, before we go on, Ed, I want to thank you very much. Let's go through the results. Then I'll also remind everyone the phone number is 1-877-392-3299, and emails Dave Meltzer at yada.com if you want to join in. We've only got an hour, so we're going to go through this as quick as we can. Eddie Guerrero beating Test to win the European title due to help from Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, who were both added to the show at the last minute. Kurt Angle defeated Chris Benoit by holding the trunks. That was a really super match. The one negative, I was watching this match, and it was very authentic style. Great wrestling early. And then when they went to the brawling, it was great brawling, great build. The negative, I thought that ref, they did a ref bump spot, and then Benoit put the crossface in, Angle tapped, but there was no ref. I thought that really wasn't needed, because the minute they did the ref, it just made it feel like every other match on the show to me.
Yeah, plus they were having so many ref bumps on the show that it was like just one in a match that you really didn't need it.
Right. And then the finish with the trunks, I liked and didn't like it in the idea that they were having such a great match and it was such a cheap finish, but at the same time, that was probably the idea. You know, it's that old heel.
Yeah, it was the whole psychology of the match with Benoit out wrestling him at the beginning, and so Angle's the one that ends up going to the, cheating and brawling and everything like that, and it was actually a real good finish. I thought it was great.
No, you know what that was? That was a total Jack Briscoe Dory Funk Jr. Total. And I mean, I was watching it with some friends, and that was exactly what we were saying was, you know, I don't really think Jack Briscoe and Dory Funk Jr. did the wrestling that good, but boy, that was
the funny thing was I was in a room with about 10 people, and I don't think any of them were like fans that had watched sport more than like 5 years or anything like that, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this amateur wrestling is going to just bore the hell out of them. And they're just sitting there just staring at the screen, like totally intent watching this match, and I thought, wow. So,
well, you know what?
These guys will get into wrestling. And the crowd was applauding like in Japan. It was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? Kurt Angle, when it comes, I mean, it's like his speed and technique on the mat, and also the way he made Benoit, you know, like look like he was like an Olympic wrestler. You know, just by the way he let Benoit, it was really, we praise that guy enough anyway. Ivory and China, at least it was short. China won. I thought that being that China was going to, I could say so much bad about China. I'm just going to say that it was the worst match on the show and leave it at that.
And what a finish. That was so horrible with the press slam, and then it was like she was reclining on the sofa to pin Ivory, making Ivory just look like absolutely nothing.
And then the other thing was, the whole thing of this angle is that China's supposed to have this career-ending neck injury, and then like earlier on, you know, when they did an interview, I think this was actually on Heat, and they bring up China's injury, and she like blows it off and just goes, oh, I'm 110%. You know, there's no injury. You know, it's like, yeah, that was great. I mean, the whole idea was the reason she's not wrestling men anymore is because she now has vulnerability because of a neck injury. Well, so much for that storyline that they created. Then we had Vince and Shane, which Linda got out of the wheelchair. Trish got her revenge, and Shane won. Linda with a low blow, and then Shane pinned him. Shane took a bump. He did an elbow off the top ropes.
Crazy flying elbow off the post again.
Yeah, right. You know, through the Spanish language announcer's table. That was, I mean, put it this way: Vince McMahon is not a worker, and Shane McMahon is, you know, only works a couple times a year. And given all that, they had a lot of interaction with Mick Foley. Mick Foley and Vince were beating each other up a lot. It was entertaining for what it was. Then we had
Vince, if you didn't see the show, Vince took a hell of a beating. So he said he was gonna, you know, he'll get his just due or whatever, and he got in the storyline, and he took a beating as well.
the finish was almost like a Van Daminator in that Shane was on the top.
Oh yeah,
rope
with the garbage can.
With a drop kick all the way across the ring, garbage can to the face of Vince, and that set up the pin. So that was pretty impressive athletic move. The Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys in a three-way. Edge and Christian ended up winning when basically Rhino put Christian on his shoulders, climbed his giant 14-foot ladder, and Christian grabbed the belts and came down. And they killed each other. I personally liked this match more than any of the other ones because I thought that psychologically the crazy spots were better timed. And I mean, they
made more sense in the whole picture of the match.
Right, and it didn't seem like the one that they had last year at WrestleMania, which was an excellent match. I thought that was like more of a stunt show, and this one was a stunt show to be sure. But I just thought the drama built. I thought the guys were a year better as workers all across the board, all 6 of them, and just as good Jeff Hardy did. Came off with a swanton off a 14-foot ladder onto Spike and Rhino?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was this crazy bump that Matt Hardy and Bubba took onto, double stacks of tables outside the ring. And then there was the big finish, which was, Edge
speared Jeff. Jeff was like hanging on the
hanging.
belt again. Same thing from Raw. And Edge just speared him off and just killed him. It was one of those matches where I thought, I will enjoy this match far better watching it on tape, knowing that everyone lived. And I'm serious about that because there were some bumps, I think it was Christian took this one bump off the ladder, and I don't know if he was going to crotch the top rope or what, but he ended up going over the top rope.
He overshot it.
Yeah, he overshot it, and I thought, oh my God, that guy's done. He's done. And he got back up and finished, but it was brutal. I don't know. I love the match, but it's I don't really know if I want to watch another one of those again.
Yeah. The Sheik won the Battle Royal, and then Slaughter put in a camel clutch. The ring introductions were fine. I guess, a lot of the guys people really didn't know. A few of the guys I think the people had fun with. Okerlund and Bobby Heenan got to do the announcing. So, whatever. Now, what guys from WCW did you recognize? Because I saw Johnny Ace, Lance Storm, Jindrak, Stacy Keibler, Sean Stasiak, Hugh Morris. Was there anybody else there? Chavo Guerrero.
I saw more people than I did. Did you mention Miss Hancock? She was there.
Yeah, I said Stacy Keibler, yeah.
Okay.
And then we had Undertaker and Helmsley, and Undertaker beat him with the last ride. A lot of great near falls. I think long term I will understand it, but having said that, it makes that last month pay-per-view finish where Hunter beat Austin make a little less sense. And if Hunter is going to be the one challenging Austin, which I guess he probably won't be, but if he were to be, actually this makes last month's match just make no sense. But anyway, so much for that. But
it makes sense politically.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, Hunter doesn't job for anyone for a long, long time, clean, right? So the one he picks to job for is a guy who's already established. I mean, it should be for a guy who's not established. I mean, it was the safe political job. It was the job that, you can't say no to, but it was the wrong, this match Hunter should have won. Mm-hmm. And Rock and Austin, Vince turned heel, gave Austin a chair. He hit Rock about 400 times with a chair, and I
thought that finish was so awesome. He hits him with the stunner. Rock kicks out. Rock kicked out about 50 different things. Stunner, the rock bottom, everything like that. And finally, Austin just gets a chair and just absolutely laid waste to him and then pinned him. And I thought that is an awesome finish.
They went 28 minutes. We're going to go back to the calls. We're going to go, we got full bank of calls. Let's go to Tony. You're next up. Tony, what did you think of WrestleMania?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey, not too much.
Well, by 10:30, I said this show is great no matter what happens from here on. So it was easily the best pay-per-view I've seen since I can remember. And I think that this pay-per-view
the best one.
Is the punctuation on this wrestling boom for the last 5-6 years. I always said that the one thing that was missing from this boom was that big stadium show. When I think back of the big boom of the 80s, I think to 3 or 6 or 8, and that was the one thing that was missing, and now they have this one. And I just thought it was unbelievable. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the last 5 minutes of the show.
Really?
I would have liked to just seen them have a classic clean finish, one guy or the other, and save that turn, because it didn't work. The fans didn't care. And you got JR and Paul telling us something that doesn't really kind of mesh with what the crowd is reacting to.
You know, that whole match, you know, you're right about it was the wrong city, because if you watch the match, Austin from Bell 1, Austin worked heel, Rock made babyface comebacks, and every time Rock made a babyface comeback, the whole place booed. Yeah. And it was like a reverse psychology, and they worked it the way to like turn the crowd slowly but surely the whole match towards Rock, but the crowd just didn't turn.
Where's Raw tomorrow night?
Raw's in Fort Worth, which Steve Austin I think had his first match in Fort Worth. It's going to be very interesting.
I was just thinking it would have been something like, I don't know if the fans would have been angry if they're more interested in the match or the angle, but I was thinking they could have just done something like at WrestleMania where they do the straight match, Austin gets to win with the stunner, and then do the rematch on Raw and do the whole swerve and everything on the Raw match when they're not in Texas, but they're in Texas, so there goes that.
I don't think that you want to give away the WrestleMania main event the very next night on Raw. Mm-hmm. I think that already, especially with a $40 show, I think that people will, you know.
The crowd, just that sight of all those people was awesome. We can't imagine what it was like being there live, but it came across so great on TV. And that Texas crowd was great. They seemed to really react and weren't dead for really too much. But a couple of miscellaneous stuff on the show. Regal and Jericho kind of didn't... I thought it was going to be a better match than it was. They were kind of sloppy.
Agree with that.
Yeah.
And also, it was also too short.
Yeah, too short. I'm surprised they didn't get a little bit more time than they did. But, and you know, I'll tell you, the 4-hour format really worked well because it allowed a lot of the matches to, you know, be longer and play out, and hopefully this will be something they'll go to more often for the bigger shows. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's better to leave that for Mania. That way Mania can stand out and you can charge the higher ticket price for it, because people feel justified. They got an extra hour out of the show and they paid the $10 extra. So I think to me a monthly thing.
Oh no, 4 hours. Just for the big shows. Yeah, I agree. Just for the big shows to make them seem special.
I would agree on that.
Hey, was Heat live?
He was live, so it was really a 5-hour show.
5 hours for that crowd. That's pretty. But that's good that they didn't die.
But they didn't really do anything. They only had one match on Heat, and it was a 3-minute match. So realistically, it was still a 4-hour show because they didn't do anything. There was really nothing before the crowd. They didn't do any live interviews or anything like that. Everything was just on the, you know. But most of the people were there. You know, I mean, that building was. There were probably 40,000 people in that building towards the latter stages of the Heat show. So, I mean, you know.
And I think once a year, a 5-hour show, the fans know that this is the big one, and they'll sit through it, and, you know, they'll be... I don't think, like, every month they could do the 4-hour show and then a Heat show, or even 3 hours in a live Heat, and the fans would stay into it. It's too much.
Guys, I thought there was way too many ref bumps on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially, like, in needless situations, like, in certain matches...
The Undertaker Triple H match... That ref was out for like 15, 20 minutes from an elbow.
It was stupid. It was stupid, too, because, you know, it's like, how many times have we seen a ref out and you know, another ref runs down, and this guy's out there for minutes on end, and nobody runs in. No EMTs. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you another thing that I thought in the Hunter match that was very bad was a camera shot where they showed, Hunter took that choke slam in that camera pit, and, you know, they had that gymnastics pit underneath, so he took no bump at all. You know, you're watching going, oh my God, and Ross is going, he landed on concrete, and I'm going and I knew it was gimmicked, but I didn't see the gimmick, and Ross is screaming it, so it had a great impact on me, and they showed 2 or 3 camera angles, and you still just see him go down, but you don't see him land, and then they showed the last camera angle, and you see him land in the gymnastics pit, and it was just like, it was like a negative reaction. It was like, that's not a bump, that's something that a
cartoon.
It's a cartoon.
And then it got worse with Undertaker jumping off the thing and doing his flying elbow onto the little gymnastics pit. It looked like 2 kids jumping on the bed. Yeah, so that one, I didn't like that. Tony, I want to get running because we got a full bank of calls, okay?
Okay, guys.
Okay, thanks a bunch, Tony. We're going to go to Matt. Matt, you're next. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay, I'm on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, WrestleMania, I would like to give it a big thumbs up. That China match was so horrible, they shouldn't even put her on the card. See, she should be going to WCW.
No, she shouldn't. No, she shouldn't. She shouldn't be going to WCW. She should be going.
No, but the way that
she should be going to Glow.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that match was so horrible. I just don't know. You know, that match and the hardcore match was not that entertaining. I thought the hardcore match could have been more entertaining. As the Austin,
I thought it was entertaining. I don't think it was particularly good, but it was entertaining. The hardcore match.
It was
China match was hideous.
Yeah, well, any show that the Big Show's in makes it look hideous.
He tried.
Well, he did try.
Yeah, he tried. And also about the Gimmick Battle Royal.
Speaking of which, did you get a load of the physiques on those guys tonight? Boy, I was told that everyone's peaking those cycles there, and boy, I sure saw them, boy. That was some of those guys. I'm not mentioning any names. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but with the Gimmick Battle Royal, I thought I was for sure Brother Love was going to win, but either way, nobody really cared.
No, if they won, someone should that would be too much. Booking committee guys can't win that Battle Royal, no way. Especially because he wasn't even a wrestler. You know what I mean? He was just like a what was he? He was a talk show host.
He did not do that well with commentary. I'm not trying to knock him, but he did really bad.
Who didn't?
Well, he is bad.
Mean Gene.
He's an interviewer. He is not a play-by-play.
No, he's once called play-by-play at WrestleMania.
He was always terrible at it. That's why he never did it very often. I mean, I
think Mean Gene's role was to go out there and do every single one of his cliches in as hokey a manner as possible, just for the fans watching at home.
Well, that's why they wanted to make it hokey, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have a good match with Kamal at 55 years old, or however old he is now.
And also, the tables, ladders, and chairs match. It was better than the SummerSlam one, which was surprising. Because the SummerSlam one, they did all the extreme bumps. I'm surprised that they both went through the tables, Matt Hardy and Bubba Ray. And as for the main event, it was really good. It was worth the $40. Most pay-per-views, like last year, it was not worth the $50 to get that all day and then the 3 hours. But this year, it was worth it.
I thought this show blew away last year's. In fact, I would say it blew away every single WrestleMania ever. I mean, because if you go into 10, we had those two great matches.
Even 10 had all the horrible undercard and everything.
But had the horrible undercard. This had, 3 great matches and 3 other matches that were very good and, and maybe 1 or 2 bad ones. So, let's go to John. Okay, let's go to John in London. John, what's going on? God, it must be like 6 a.m. there.
No, London, Ontario, Dave.
Oh, well, then you're just the same time as the rest of us.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm still Eastern time zone.
Okay. What's going on, John?
Not much. I thought WrestleMania was great. The only thing is that, like they always do with WrestleMania, I'm worried that we're going to get the identical card on Backlash.
I wouldn't mind seeing this stuff again.
They could easily toss out Austin Rock again if it wasn't for the movie. They
can still do it.
I'm not doing this to complain. The card itself was absolutely incredible.
I think most of the matches that were worth seeing again, we'll see again, and some of them, like China and Ivory, we won't.
Well, which is a very good thing, but...
Guaranteed we're going to be seeing Hunter and Undertaker again because Hunter did a clean job,
exactly.
So he's coming back and getting a win. And guaranteed we're going to see Angle and Benoit again, and I don't mind that because I want to see him again, so that's fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm not...
Another thing with that ref bump in the Angle match with... Angle doing the tap out of the crossface. It was so unnecessary if they're going to do the Angle after the match, where Benoit attacks him during the interview, puts him in the crossface, and he taps right there.
Yeah,
they got it right there. Why do it in the match and waste another ref bump?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... And I mean, I'm not complaining about it. Actually, my only real complaint, and I really can't do this, is just with the tag team division, with Edge and Christian winning again. I mean, they're my favorite guys. I'm Canadian. I love them, but... They've won all 3, TLC matches or whatever it is now. It's kind of like, what else do they have to prove in the tag team division now? By this point,
the writers like the idea of them as the champions, the other guys chasing. Obviously, and they're. I can't knock them. They worked. Anyone who won that match would have been fine. I don't think anyone really cared as much who won. I mean, after that match, they all got elevated. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's just I'm more kind of a throwback, and I enjoy seeing everything kind of get blown off at the big card of the year. So I guess that's why I'm kind of. But I admit a lot of the stuff did, so I can't really complain about it a whole lot, especially considering it was probably the best card ever. So
the best card ever, but it was. I think it may have been the best pay-per-view ever.
Yeah,
arguably. I said the best. If we said that the Calgary Stampede was the best WF pay-per-view ever, I would say this beat it easily. What you said? Would you agree with it or no, Brian?
I'd say so. I mean, Calgary Stampede, it was so many great matches, but it was like 2-hour show, Yeah. If they would have had additional matches on there, if they had 4 hours worth, it wouldn't have done it.
No, WWF in '97 had better not be trying to flesh out a 4-hour card.
They didn't have the horses then, I know. Brad in Mississippi. Brad.
Hey, guys.
What do you think of the show?
I thought it was probably the best pay-per-view I've ever watched, and I've been a loyal, diehard WCW fan who has nothing left now. But
you still got Stacey.
Kind of depressing.
Yeah. Well, that makes me feel a lot better, Dave. Thanks. But just a couple quick things. Man, if they were worried about some of their other female stars developing a Sable complex, that China completely came off that way tonight.
That was exactly what everybody in the room was saying when I was watching. It was like, oh my God, there's another Sable right there in the ring. Except worse.
And especially if that's how she worked getting Cat fired. I mean, it was just amazing to sit there and watch her because it's the only thing she didn't do anything. It was just there.
I don't know, in fact, we got a lot of emails about, because Lawler was on the show, and that certainly was the illusion that was made, and I don't know that China had anything to do with it. I don't know that it really was anything more than people think Stacey had a bad attitude. But when I watched, but there is a possibility it's true. She definitely did get that Eddie Guerrero angle nixed right away. I mean, there's no question, and to me, watching her kill that angle they set up for her, for no reason, and then go in there with Ivory, and it's like, okay, she's going to win the title, and she's going to win it in 3 minutes. There is a sell spot, which I never saw, and then to do that thing where she picks her up once and then pins her again. It's like she didn't need to do that. I just thought that was just way out of control. There was,
So, but the other thing, I couldn't believe Hunter put over Undertaker. I thought it finished
I couldn't
either, actually.
Well, the thing that scares me the most is that, okay, so now are they going to do Undertaker Austin again? Because that looks like
I'm sure they will somewhere, sometime, sure.
Because, that looked like, that's the only, outside of, Rock, I guess, doing the rematch thing, but Undertaker's about the only one left, huh?
Okay, the problem is, if Undertaker, the thing is, Hunter is going to
That's not the guy they need on top, though, working with Austin.
No. It's not, if Hunter was going to do a job for someone, it should have been Jericho, Benoit. Undertaker doesn't need it. Undertaker's going to be over no matter, he's a legend. He's going to be over no matter what you do. And, that's why I kind of, I saw that thing building where he was going to lose, and it's like, it's that pecking order thing. It's like, it's okay. It's like, it's okay to lose because he's a big guy. It's okay to lose because he's an established star. And it's like the whole gimmick is when you put people over is you put new people over, not.
Yeah, you elevate people.
Yeah, anyone. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Once he beat Austin, I don't know why he would lose to Undertaker. It just doesn't
The one thing when I was watching that match, when I saw the finish, because Hunter was up there going for they're going for the power bomb, and he went for the sledgehammer shot, and I thought, okay, this is it, and it wasn't. And Undertaker pinned him. My only thought was, okay, Austin is turning heel, the guy in Texas on the Texas show, so maybe they just want to get another Texas guy over on this particular show, and Undertaker's the guy. I just figured they wouldn't want to, send fans home happy with the main and the main.
Well, first of all, the fans were going to go home.
The main didn't turn out that way, but
the fans were going to go home happy either way. But it's like you're not. This show is not for Houston, Texas. This show is for the world. Yeah. And I think that they proved that by the main event, because if they were booking the show for Houston, Texas, they never would have done that turn. They were booking the show for the world, and they were working the show for the world. The way Rock was working. It didn't work in the building, but I'm sure that the people sitting at home. Rock was making the babyface comebacks. Anyway, we're going to go to Dave in New York. Dave, what's up?
Hey, guys. I, unlike everyone else that's called in so far, was very disappointed by the show.
And tell me why, because I'm really surprised.
Okay. I thought that... Okay, let's go over the main matches. Undertaker versus Triple H was terrible. Because...
You say terrible.
Okay, here's why.
Okay.
The referee took the elbow drop and played dead for 10 minutes.
Well, that was a terrible spot.
Okay. They didn't do anything remotely good during those 10 minutes when they were brawling around the arena. And the finish was good. I did like the finish, but I did not like the rest of that match. TLC I liked, but was below expectations.
God, what did you want?
No, below expectations. No, let me explain. Here. Because, last year at WrestleMania, my complaint with the ladder match was that it had too long setups. At SummerSlam, they got rid of the setups, had a much faster paced match. This one was just kind of in between. Okay, you get my point there?
I just thought that they were. I thought they for guys that were killing themselves. I thought they killed themselves much smarter than they have in the previous two matches.
Yeah, I guess that's true, especially after that backwards bump Matt Hardy took at SummerSlam. The main event was disappointing because the first half was not very good. I mean, the second half was quite good, but it's just not the blow-away show that you've been kind of pimping it as for the last half hour.
Really? I thought it was.
I mean, you can't. I don't know how you can rank it as almost as a show on as being, say, better than the EMLL first pay-per-view from last year, or being.
I haven't even compared it with that, although I thought.
Well, you said one of the best general pay-per-views.
Yeah, I would say that there was not one match on this show that was better than the main event on the first EMLL pay-per-view, but I thought overall.
Okay.
The first EMLL,
that had a lot.
That one didn't have a hell of a
first,
pay-per-view.
That first EMLL pay-per-view was a fantastic show, and it had no bad matches, and this one clearly had bad matches.
Okay.
But this one, they were different. I think both shows were outstanding. But I don't know. This was to me, this was. I was thinking like comparing this one to When Worlds Collide, and When Worlds Collide didn't have any bad matches, which this one had. Actually, When Worlds Collide had more heat than this one overall.
Yeah.
So there may be an argument for that When Worlds Collide to be better. Although it wasn't a 4-hour show, it was a 2-hour show. So
yeah. Okay. So
okay, we got to run. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk to you later, Dave.
One thing I do want to say is that the first
ahead.
5 minutes of Benoit Angle were great, fantastic.
First, absolutely. I thought that whole match, except for the ref bump, was fantastic. Let's go to Brooks in Maryland. Brooks, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey. Doing really good.
Yeah, I really liked the show. I thought the first half hour was a little too much like Raw though, but it got better.
They didn't do as many vignettes and skits as I expected, which I'm glad for.
That's true, yeah. I love the Benoit Angle match. It was awesome. The crowd was like cheering after every little toss around they were doing on the mat. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hardcore match. I couldn't believe they went backstage. It's like 65,000 plus, watching. That seemed kind of like crazy to me.
I thought that was a hell of a video wall, though.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I think the deal on that is they had to do something different because there was no way that those three guys were going to have a wrestling match compared to like most of the wrestling match on the show. So they tried to just have them do something totally different.
Yeah.
And they had to have the golf cart spot.
Yeah,
Raven nearly got hurt because those guys don't know how to drive.
I thought the whole set they had constructed back there, that was pretty cool actually.
What, that little room?
Yeah, with the window and all that.
Yeah. I thought that room, what was interesting about the room is that because the room is so small, it made, Big Show and Kane look so enormous. Which they are.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, no Pete Rose.
That's
no
true,
Pete
yeah.
Rose. Hey, who was the gobbledygook girl? It might have been Hector Guerrero, huh?
He was dancing.
I bet that's who it was because they're still in contact with him and they probably were happy to give him a payday. I don't know that's who it was though.
Yeah. I was really
the fact they got Ray Apollo when they could have got anybody else in the world for Doink makes me think that it probably was Hector.
Yeah. I was really surprised at the amount of boos for The Rock though. I was just like 75% of the audience is going for Austin. That was surprising to me.
I kind of figured that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't know how they're going to explain the Austin turn because him and McMahon have such a history though. It's going to be hard to do.
Well, we're going to have to watch Raw tomorrow and watch that 20-minute interview that may go forever with Austin and McMahon out
Maybe
there
Austin
trying to...
Maybe Austin can come out in his suit and tie again like that one time they tried it.
He probably will. We're going to go to Damien. Damien, what's up?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hey, doing really good.
Good show tonight.
Yeah, it really was.
I think. I don't know, somebody from New York was complaining about it, but I had 10 people here, 10 hardcore wrestling fans, and everybody walked away happy, which is...
What do you think was best? What do you think was best and worst?
Worst thing was Chris Jericho jerking the curtain.
Okay.
Worst thing, I don't know how this guy is still, granted he's got the IC title or whatever, that means not much these days, but first match, come on. Best thing on the show, I'm sad to say this, but the best match of the night was Shane and Vince.
I think so?
The Benoit Angle thing was the best wrestling match, but the thing that had people most entertained, I think, was Shane and Vince. It was
they were not more entertained by that than Rock and Austin had twice the heat of those guys.
Yeah, they did.
That
was quite a pop for Linda standing up out of that chair, though.
What's that?
It was set up perfectly. Linda standing up.
Yeah.
They ate that thing up.
Yeah, the Van Terminator was Shane, what was that all about? Paulie saying hi to Rob Van Dam again, or what?
They slapped old Rob
Probably
in the
sending
face.
a message to Rob Van Dam.
They're not going to hire him, and we're going to steal your move. We're going to have the owner's son steal your move too.
Sad.
Yeah.
What did I want? Oh, yeah. The main event was great. I don't like the turn. I wish they did it vice versa.
Vice versa, getting Rock turns heel?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't do that because Rock's got all the crossover, the movie contract, and all that.
You could do that. It doesn't matter.
You can still do it.
You could still do it. But the thing is, that was their determination. I mean, we've pretty much known for, 6 months that this was where it was going to end up.
Yeah.
And pretty much it was going to end up on this show, so.
Yeah. Well, I was just hoping that, Vince is always on TV saying, well, the reason our fans love us so much is because we listen to them.
Well,
if they did listen, they would have turned Rock. 6 months, they would have turned Rock.
If they did listen in the last 3 weeks, they would have turned Rock. But by God, I'm a monopoly, and I can do what the hell I want.
He can do whatever he wants.
He doesn't have to listen to the fans ever. He doesn't have to listen to the fans ever again until Rupert Murdoch starts his own wrestling company, which is not happening.
You know what? The only other thing, one more thing about the show I didn't like, Eddie went over and he didn't get to use the frog splash.
Yeah, he tried.
I like when Eddie gets when he hits that and wins a match. That's good. But he didn't get to do it.
We got to run next, okay? Let's go to Tom in California. Tom, you're up. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Really good.
I mean, that one caller who called in earlier said the show sucked. I think he must be somebody fired from WCW because...
if Survival Tobita had won the Gimmick Battle Royal, he would have given it a thumbs up.
No, but you know what? He's a really smart guy. I mean, he sends me emails all the time, and I'm not being facetious. He's a really smart guy. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really good show. I mean, that sight of 67,000 people in the Astrodome was really cool, and every match was just awesome. I just want to say it was the best $40 I ever spent, really. And
wow. Wow. I swear I have something that I was going to say, and I better not, so that's okay. Go ahead.
Jeez. Did this break WrestleMania 6 attendance record?
Yeah.
It did?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Sorry.
No, the attendance record for WrestleMania is WrestleMania 3, and this did not break that.
But the WrestleMania 6.
Now, that was Hoosier Dome?
That was like...
That was Skydome.
No, 6 was
Toronto.
Skydome, okay. You know what? I will tell you tomorrow when I get the real number. I bet it didn't. But
so the number
they will claim it did, but I just don't know about that, okay? It's pretty close.
Is the number on TV that they said, is that not correct? Or?
Well, generally speaking, on every pay-per-view, it's not, so I'm just skeptical that it is this time, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's pretty close. I mean, they had sold 60,000 tickets, a little over 60, under 61, and called it a sellout. And you figure if there's 3,000 or 4,000 paper, so it's like 63, 64. And when I saw the original sketch of the Astrodome, the sellout was somewhere between 64 and 66. So, whatever it is. I mean, they're probably counting, the chefs and there's 10 WCW guys in the corner and all that, and
Gimmick Battle Royal guys.
Yeah.
The Gimmick Battle Royal guys, and then some of the guys that went to the XFL game that, things like that.
I must say, last thing, real
Parking
fast.
attendance.
I predict a new record low for the XFL game that went against WrestleMania, so there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that UPN game? Oh, brother.
You think Vince will bury his own company in the press?
Maybe.
WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania killed the XFL.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Okay.
Thanks.
Al, who's up? Okay, we got Mike in California. Mike, what's going on?
Gentlemen, how you doing this evening?
Doing great.
Actually, I got on kind of late. What did you guys think of the show? I got on late.
Kicked ass.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I might be in the minority in this, but I know a lot of people were complaining about Steve Austin's heel turn, and I think what I want your opinion on is, I don't think they really should worry yet until, let's see how the fans respond once they're out of Houston.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how they're going to do it for work tomorrow either.
You got to get all the way out of Texas.
They may have to get out of the United States.
Maybe you can start drinking wine.
There's
ways to do it.
Everyone that they've ever tried to turn, they've been successful at doing, except, they never did get Bret Hart over as a heel in Canada, but then again, he wouldn't let it happen either, so.
That's true.
Very well. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Okay. You're very welcome. Okay.
Next up, Jimmy in Arizona.
Okay, Jimmy in Arizona. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? You do a great job.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Listen, one way to make sure Austin gets over, I think, be taking like Foley did in ECW, just do headlocks and stuff like that.
Oh, the old school.
They're not going to do. They're not going to do
real hardcore and doing the headlocks, doing the arm drag stuff like that. I think people would get a little annoyed at that pretty quickly, but I
think that'd be like an absolute last resort.
Well,
I think there's ways to get him over without
was,
doing anything like that.
I don't see that because that's something that like Foley was doing that as a spoof on a very limited number of fans, which happen to make up a lot of the ECW fans.
You're
For
right.
the general public, I don't think that's going to work.
You're right. But I hope they don't give up on the turn too quickly. I would hate to think
they can't.
They didn't, because just look back at Rock. They didn't give up on that guy.
You're right. Listen, I thought it was a great show. The only I'm still trying to figure out why in the hell Hunter did a job in this match, in this pay-per-view.
It was the politically right thing to do at this time, and so that's why he did it.
He wanted to make an example to show everybody else that
and he didn't elevate
Now he
anyone.
wins for a year straight, and he can go, I put over the Undertaker clean.
I put over the Undertaker clean with his move at WrestleMania on the biggest show in front of 65,000 people. Clean. So, anyone can do it. But again, he didn't have to elevate anyone either. I mean, you protect your spot by putting over the Undertaker because the Undertaker and Hunter, the Undertaker's not taking Hunter's spot.
You're right. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay, who's up next?
Next up will be Jay in Indiana.
Jay in Indiana. Okay.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Pretty good show tonight.
Oh, thank you. You're not talking about us, are you? You're talking about the McMahon show.
Actually, both of them.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Seems like the Austin turn's the big topic tonight. They pulled out just about every stop to get him over as a heel.
They tried their damnedest.
Yeah,
they were gonna, if anything was going to work, that they did it. Unfortunately, the answer to the question was nothing was going to work that tonight.
Yeah. Well,
they really did everything they could tonight. I mean, what more could they have done?
Vince in his corner is about the best thing they could do.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be enough?
In the long run, yes. Maybe never in Texas. There's some cities that some guys, will never get over his heels in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it may be like in Houston and Dallas or something, like in the state of Texas. He's just going to be a babyface no matter what they do. It was kind of like, what was it? Actually, Angle's not a good example because Angle actually did get booed in Pittsburgh.
I have one.
Most times. Who?
Jerry Lawler in Evansville, Indiana. Anytime they're in Evansville.
Oh, no. Okay. But you're right about that, except, the thing is when Lawler, when Lawler has turned in Memphis in the past, he has gotten over as a heel. Now, if he would I don't know, I think the Lawler probably in Memphis, if he'd still stayed with the WWF, at his age, because he's such a part of their culture, I don't think they would ever boo him.
True.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the, Battle Royal?
I was glad it was short. The ring introductions, as we figured, were the best part, and once that thing started, it was really, really bad.
Yeah. The entrances were nice, though. It was kind of neat to see Bobby the Brain and Gene Okerlund there. Do you think they'll be back around any time, or will you think it's just a one-shot?
It was just for one shot. I mean,
I don't even think he considered a tryout because they had something that they were told to do,
Right.
Get out there. And,
it was part of a theme, and in a sense, it was almost putting them out to pasture by telling everyone these guys are outdated, just like Repo Man and all that.
True.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we'll. I mean, they could bring them back. Who was surprised that we saw tonight because there's absolutely no reason for it. It was Albano at WF New York. I mean, that just showed
someone told me he was there.
Oh yeah, you didn't see it. Yeah, WF New York. They had Albano.
I missed that one. He was like picking winners of the Battle Royal, wasn't he?
Yeah. With Blassie, and Snuka was there too.
Bert Sugar.
No Bert Sugar. By the way, do you know that they have a new book out?
Oh, really?
They have Volume 2, which is actually better than Volume 1. Leafing through it, it really was. It was. I mean, not that it was good, but all these
improvement.
There's all these WCW books. There's this bookstore that's going out of business. Actually, I guess Crown's going out everywhere, which is another sad business going out. But I went to the local Crown, and there's no WF books, and it's like the shelves are bare at the local Crown here. There's like no books around, but there's tons of DDP, Goldberg, and that WCW history book, sitting on the shelves with it. Like clearly no one's buying. Anyway, I just want to get that out.
Guys, next up is Aaron in L.A.
Aaron in L.A., what's going on?
How you doing, guys?
Hey.
Doing really good.
Quick question for you. What happened to the Christopher match being scrapped?
I guess that they complained about it and put it back on. Oh no, okay. Here's this. Okay, it was on Heat.
The Heat
Brian
match,
Christopher. Brian Christopher's back on Heat. They were going back and forth all week on Wednesday that they had the match. It was actually supposed to be against Malenko and Saturn. Then on Saturday night, after everybody was all happy about the Fan Fest, because everybody on Wednesday, the guys that were on the show were mad because this giant payoff they wouldn't share in, and everyone's going to be on except for Kai and Ty and Lowdown, figuring that Kai and Ty they're going to be happy anyway or whatever. So they were all happy through the Access, this biggest payoff we're ever going to get. Then Saturday night, all of a sudden comes the word, hey, all you guys are scrapped. And Sean Waltman went to Hunter and said, let me see what we can do about it. And so Sean and Justin got in the match with Blackman and Brian Christopher. But Malenko and Saturn also got on the card in the Eddie Guerrero match. So those guys were all happy. The only ones to see, Crash Holly, Molly Holly, they weren't there. There were probably a few others that weren't there as well. Bossman wasn't there. A few others.
Okay, I thought the main event was nothing less than awesome. I thought the announcers actually made the main event. I think that Heyman and
Ross was working so hard.
Yeah, Ross was working hard. Heyman was very good. Heyman was even good in the Heyman was really good in the Jericho Regal match, which you didn't see, Brian, because right at the beginning they set the stage and said that Jericho is going in with an injured shoulder, and then Regal worked on the shoulder, so it made it more than it made it more effective than it was probably better on TV than it would have been live in the building because of that.
I think there was a tie for the worst match tonight between, of course, the women's match and then the six-man match. I thought Tazz looked horrible tonight.
It was just short, and it was in and out, and I thought it was a bad match, too, though. There was, what was it,
I got there
spot
to the tail
where,
end. Was that kind of just like a squash?
No, it was just 4 minutes back and forth, but there were two spots with Tazz, one spot where they were going to whip him off the ropes where I thought he was going to, this sounds funny, but fall through the ropes because he was too short to hit the top rope. Because he went in at a bad angle, it would look really weak.
Mike from Ohio is up next, guys.
Mike from Ohio, what's going on? Hey.
Yeah, just got a couple quick thoughts. First off, I don't care what anyone else says, I loved the Taker-Hunter match. I thought that was incredible. I thought that was the best I'd seen Taker work in months. He even busted out the Tombstone. And
yes, he did. We didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Well, but he can do that anytime. That's because of WrestleMania, and Hunter can get that ban rescinded, which some of the other guys can't. So that's not like crediting the Undertaker or anything. That's just they let him let him do it, because they really don't want him doing that too much right now.
Yeah.
Because if he does it, then the other guys will start wanting to be able to do it, and they don't want the other guys doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, I thought the hardcore match was, I don't know, I thought Kane got a better pop than what I thought he was going to get. Raven took okay bumps. Paul White was freaking useless, I thought.
Yeah.
And no Pete Rose.
There.
Where was Pete Rose?
And he caused a car accident in that golf cart. I blame him for that.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that's all I got to say, guys. Thanks.
Okay. Who's next?
Next up, Chris in New York.
Chris in New York.
How you doing, guys?
Doing
what's
really
going
good.
on?
Nothing much. I just want to comment. Chris Jericho looked absolutely awful tonight. Him and Regal I can't get over it. Regal, I thought in WCW a couple years back, used to put on some great matches. And now tonight, they just wrestled a sloppy match all night, back and forth, missing punches. What's going on there?
It was sloppy. They didn't work. Their stuff wasn't smooth together, and the match was too short. You're right.
Yeah, it was like nerves. I didn't see it, so was it just nerves or just not working together well? Or?
It was one of how sometimes Jericho has those matches. It was one of those where it's just like everything's off a little bit, and just off enough that you notice it. It's not horrible off, and but it's off.
Do you guys see a heel turn coming in the future for him?
For Jericho?
Yeah, he's way too over.
I've been hoping for that heel turn because he's so stagnated as a babyface. So yeah,
he
needs something.
Another point I wanted to cross out. I am not a big fan of Rock or Austin, but I have to say in the main event, one hell of a match. But did anybody notice the time when Rock bladed himself when Earl Hebner obviously dropped the blade next to the steps and he went to pick it up? Very sloppy.
I did not
Oh
notice
yeah,
that.
I was wondering what that was. It was
Very
like Brock
poorly
walks
done.
over there and just fell down.
I mean, and you saw him.
I remember when he walked over and fell down. Was that what that was about?
Yeah,
I guess he was getting delayed then.
He put it right in his pants, and the camera went right off him and went to Austin and Hebner arguing, and then the camera came back to The Rock, pleading very, very. I mean, I've been watching the business for quite a few years, and just watching that very, very poorly done in the main event.
Yeah.
That's
I'm just wondering why everyone was falling down during the shows. Like everybody was tripping. Eddie tripped.
Eddie Guerrero fell down.
Eddie jumped out of the ring and just like fell down. And then it was so horrible when Tazz got his foot caught. And took forever to get out there. And when he was finally released, everybody cheered.
And with the ref bumps, that was just insane. They just kept on dropping all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes, some of them were real weak too.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. I have to say, Hebner did officiate a decent match, but I don't know where do you think they're going to.
Great near falls in that main event.
Yeah. That's for
they
sure.
were awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, that's all I have to say. Good night, guys.
Okay, good night. Who's next?
Dave in Atlanta.
Dave in Atlanta.
Hey,
what's going on, Dave?
Brian, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. Saw Mania. It was pretty good. Saw the local sports bar down here. I was really impressed with the main event. In the bar, everybody was just popping at every near fall in the main. And,
I was too.
It was wonderful, I tell you. I personally thought that, I thought Ivory and China was just, but, my girlfriend was with me and she's watched a little bit of it and she's smart to the biz and everything. And, she really did not like Angle versus Benoit.
Really?
And,
for what reason?
Well, what she said is, now, she hasn't followed the psychology and she hasn't been following nearly as long as I have. I've been following it since '85. She's kind of jumped on the bandwagon because she's engaged to me and don't have much of a choice. But
God, people have been engaged to me. They don't have a choice, but they still hate wrestling.
No, she actually's got it. I got old UWF that I'm going to make her watch later. But
that's what you need to do, Dave. That old UWF.
That's how you're done with all that Watts stuff. She'll like Benoit. Take my word for it.
Oh man! But she said that basically a lot of the newer fans, what kind of turned her off was the mat wrestling at the beginning, because what she marks out for is the high spots, like in the tables, ladders, and chair stuff. She loved that. She thought that was just the greatest thing.
But you can't do that every night. You can do that mat wrestling every night.
Every single night.
Well,
and get those submissions over, that's awesome.
That's the other thing. They finally got those submissions over. That was what was,
Well, I was explaining to her that first thing you got to do is they're building up that they were both equals on the mat, and then they went to do the suplexes and do that, and then after that they went for the submissions and stuff like that. And
then the other thing was what was so good is they're doing all that wrestling, and then Angle, by throwing the first punch, really heals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, rather than like everyone's just out there punching and kicking and like there's no one really healing because they're both doing the same thing.
Yeah, they put Benoit over so strong with the wrestling too, so the punch meant so much more.
And I was telling her also that, it's similar to, because it's got Heyman all over, it's similar to the Sabu Van Dam angle where, both men are worthy of respect and one just disses the other and it's building for the heel feud, the heel versus face feud and all. But I was impressed with that. I personally enjoyed it. The one spot I did like was seeing Kamala standing on Regal's desk and him freaking out. That was
pretty funny.
Best use of Kamala in the last 3, 4, 5 years at least.
That may be true.
He was.
Well, that may be true because he hasn't wrestled in about 10. I can't even remember the last time that guy was around.
But it was a really good card. It was well worth the money. We really did enjoy it. And I tell you right now, I'm hooked to Figure 4 Weekly now.
Thank you.
I've been subscribing to it for a while, and I just love it and everything. You say some funny stuff in there. Anyone who hasn't tried it out should, get a subscription and just try it out. And Dave, I've been subscribing to you ever since about '93, with just a couple of interruptions, and I just think your newsletters were still one of the best in the business. I really have appreciated this week's issue too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you've done some of your best work. Hopefully you'll get a little rest now that we have one promotion pretty much for a while.
Forever.
But what was your take on a lot of the stuff that went on? What was your thing about the what do you call it, tables, ladders, and chairs match and the Benoit match?
I thought both matches were tremendous.
Really?
Fantastic. Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Do you think this will actually get Austin over as a heel?
Tonight
this
won't,
one
but
alone,
they'll do
no.
it.
No, but they're gonna have to work at it. This is not gonna be the world's easiest turn.
No. Tomorrow night at Raw, are they in Texas tomorrow night?
Yeah, they're in Fort Worth. Good luck tomorrow.
Well, if anybody can do it, it's Austin and McMahon.
Well, you know what? You know what he can do? Austin
refuse to work.
No, you know what Austin can do? If he gets the mic, all he has to do is go, I hate all you people in Texas. I'm moving to Connecticut. That's it. All he has to do is say that and he'll be fine.
Or either I thought of an idea a while back of maybe, I hate fantasy booking, but if he walked up there and said, I'm whipped, Deborah told me to do it, there goes your macho. All the guys out there.
That might kill him a little too much.
It would kill him, but
Yeah.
That'd get the wrong kind of heat, but done correctly, it could be kind of humorous.
Yeah. Dave, we gotta get running, okay?
All right, appreciate it. Have a great one.
Al, are we totally out of time?
Totally out of time. We're actually 4 minutes over, so...
Okay. I want to thank everyone for joining us on our first ever special, and this seems to be a pretty big success, and I'm sure we'll do it again. And for those of you who didn't get through, or people who send emails and everything, I'm sure we'll be talking about wrestling for the next 2 hours, for 2 hours tomorrow, 5 to 7. For those of you who have never listened to the show, we're on 5 to 7 Eastern Time every Monday through Friday right here on IATA.com, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 5.